Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel for some more disc golf. Today we're at Thompson Park in Jamesburg, New Jersey. This park is really nice. A lot of nicely lined fairways. Nothing too overly technical. It actually plays really easy, especially for someone kind of like intermediate-ish, as you'll see by my round here. A lot of mistakes you can make and get away with. A lot of very simple holes, a lot of very easy eagleable par fours. Hole one, we're just looking at a pretty standard throw your forehand out there and let it come right. The ground's really skippy on hole one, so I was lucky not to actually skip even farther right here. Just gonna mention a couple things now. I'm wearing boots. They're kind of floppy on my feet because my normal shoes are wet because I got rained on the other day. And also some of the tee sign distances are wrong. I got these right from the official Thompson Park Facebook page, as I missed my putt just barely on hole one. I think some of the distances are for either old tee pads or something of that sort. But pick up the pretty standard par on hole one here. Nothing too crazy. Hole two, probably shorter than 490. Basically, don't hit the big tree on the left. Don't hang it out too right and hit the trees on the right towards the road. And just miss this little guy right here in the middle. Going with a Champion Destroyer. Pretty glidey, pretty overstable. It's kind of getting beat in now, so I can really rip on it flat and it'll glide, but still reliably always get left for me. Just trying to hang it high. Don't put any of these trees in play. And we execute that pretty perfectly. Put it right in the perfect landing zone for a nice easy upshot. Just basically throw something pretty dead straight right at the basket here. Don't even let this tree be in the equation. I'm electing for the jump putt rather than the throw and really have to turn my hips and my shoulders away from the target. I figure the worst that could happen here is it kind of drifts off or maybe goes a little bit short or long if I really get a hold of it, but that's kind of all we can really ask for there. Yeah, as you can see, it's totally fine. And I'm about 10-12 feet away. Easy putt. Kind of almost squeaked out on the left there, but take a birdie on hole two. That's really the first one you should absolutely be getting. One is kind of right in front of you, but I don't know. For some reason, one plays harder than it looks. Hole three, probably the first real technical shot here. You kind of have to hit one of two or three kind of tight gaps and just get it into the ideal landing zone, which is just anywhere out in the open past the uprights right in front of me there. I've got a night strike 3 in the hand, going for like a hyzer flip stand up, just dead straight. And I kind of throw it really good, but it's way right, which is not where I want to be. And I hit absolutely nothing until I barely dink off that tree over my right shoulder there and just kind of fall back a bit. This one, I'm kind of deciding between my pigs and my tactic. Like I was saying, the ground is pretty skippy out here. So when I want to avoid skip, I know the pigs don't really skip much, but the tactic skips even less. So I'm going for a tactic basically straight at it and just hope I either get maybe like a little forward roll or something like that. Just trying to keep it barely right of that bush and more or less right at the target. A little too direct for my liking, but as you'll see in a second, it's totally fine. I'm about 15 feet away, if that. That's a pretty routine birdie. Really like to get 2 and 3 out here at Thompson because there's a lot of gettable holes, and as I was saying, this course plays fairly easy, so I'm kind of like not upset with myself, but you'd like to score somewhere in the 7, 8, 9 under, and you feel really good about that. Hole 4 here is just a very simple, kind of lightly tossed hyzer. This is my most overstable instinct that I have in the bag. It was that or like Firebird or T-Bird 3, but I don't know. The angle's a little too tight for something as overstable as like a Firebird, so I went with the instinct just in case there was like a baby flip up. It doesn't quite dump and fade as hard as something like a Firebird. Again, just trying to give it like a bid, and the kind of floaty, lofty jump putt keeps it pretty close if I do miss. As you can see here, I've got about 4 feet left of the basket. Pretty routine. You like to get that birdie because it's a relatively short par 3, but you don't really complain about pars like that. There's a lot of gettable strokes, gettable holes and strokes to make up here. Another fairly routine, just dead straight putter or neutral mid-range. Basket's just looking right at you, just begging to be hit with a disc. This is a D-line P2, going for a little flip up. I'm aiming for the big, wide open, dead straight gap right in the center. As you can see, the basket barely right there in that little sunny / shady spot. I kind of hang on to it a tiny bit, but I get around everything and kind of crash into the green there. It's honestly fine. I mean, this is maybe 20-ish feet. Just got a pretty what I would consider at my level routine up and down for the birdie. And just like that, we are 3 down through 5. No complaints there. I mean, you just want to get you just don't want to hit a tree on that hole. Really, that's it. That's the only thing that could take birdie out of play. If you just don't hit a tree, go as dead straight as possible, you're pretty much on the dance floor for a birdie. This is another par 4 here. There's 2 trees in the distance there. You really just don't want to be behind either one of those, or obviously hit either one. You want to either sneak in on the right, go through them, obviously, or kind of skip out left because it sort of opens up for like a light forehand. Minor grip lock on that, almost pushed those woods on the right, but this is actually the farthest drive I've ever had on this hole, and it was by accident, so not going to complain there. Got a long jump putt for eagle, and I'm going with a P3X because the blue, the other P-line P2 that I have for my long jump putts has just been coming out floppy. Almost made that. It was a good bid. Good, solid, valiant effort. But essentially, what is a tap-in birdie? Certainly going to take those all day. Hole 6 in the books, 4 under through 6. All right, looking at hole 7 here, another par 4. I'm going with the same disc. This is a 2020 Heimberg Destroyer. And I'm aiming for that long, taller, skinny one there. And I just want to hyzer out slightly left of that. This is kind of gettable, like for the eagle, but you really got to push straight for long. And I wasn't too comfortable with the wind that we had, and it kind of came out early, but anywhere in that open area where it kind of funnels down here is fine. You give yourself a wide open upshot. This is really, you know, I'm not complaining at all if I ever get this lie. You could give me this lie every time and I'll take it. Might get that lucky throw in for the 2, or, you know, there's really no need to push the right side, but I was trying to because it makes for a better video if I can get an eagle. But here's a little floaty hyzer bid at that tree with a pig. I figured pig over P3X because it's gonna get left before that tree if I just don't put too much on it, and it did. So I've got about it looked closer from where I was at the lie, but this is probably about 18-ish feet. So I've just got a pretty, what I would consider standard easy putt. But I left it short, and I dinked off the cage. You hate to see it. It's a very gettable hole. I actually really like that hole. And of course, the second one goes in, no problem. Dead center. Without even thinking. No routine. Putt. Make. Why not just do it the first time? You might be asking. Well, I don't know. Okay. That's hole 7 in the books. You know, whatever. It's a par. At least it's not a bogey. Bogeys out here kind of feel like double bogeys sometimes because the holes play very easy and they're very, very forgiving. Hole 8 is one of the more eagleable of the par 4s. I'm going with a D2, which is pretty new to my bag. I haven't thrown it that much, but it's kind of like my nuke, but a little slower. And I got a really nice flip up, kind of slightly carrying right. I just missed the low-hanging branches right before the basket, and it's actually really good. It's a little outside what I would consider parked. This is about 15, 20 feet. And I'm just lucky I didn't sneak into the woods on the right because it gets really thick there. And the mistake is definitely hyzer out left. And yeah, I mean, eagle bid, it's about 380 feet, which is really short. Great catch on the left side of the chains there. It's really short for a par 4, but I mean, you know, UDisc says what it says. The signs say what they say. So I'm taking an eagle and I'm moving on to hole 9. Now, I usually walk up and it's a no-brainer instinct on the right side. But for some reason, the forehand was looking wide open to me today. And I thought about it, but I went for the Royal Rage 2 Vapor Instinct on the right side. It's a little glidier. I probably should have gone with a more overstable disc, a more consistent finish to the left, as you'll see in a second here. It kind of barely stands up and just kind of drifts to the left. I almost made it, actually, but I skipped and went long, and now I'm looking at this, like, barely edge a circle, probably about maybe 30 feet, 31, 32 feet, something like that. That little shrug right there is because I just noticed the circle. They have them painted there, the 10-meter circle. And I wanted to kind of give this little jump, but I have to keep my balance here and stay by my lie, which is fine. And off the cage again. A little higher, and I'm looking at 7 under through 9. All right, on to the back 9. Here's hole 10. This is, I don't think it's 258, honestly. Like I said earlier, there's not really much to talk about as far as the distances. I think some of them are just wrong because they're older tee signs. Kind of, at this moment, yeah, like I'm shrugging because I'm feeling this wind, this like left to right that I think is going to pick up my disc and keep it going too straight. But that doesn't really happen. It just kind of goes dead straight and then just drops out of the sky right before the basket, right by that thick tree there. This green's tricky. It really always pulls your disc left, but I was lucky to stay as close as I did, and I have slightly awkward straddle putt. I hate straddle putting. I never get the power or the angle or the distance or anything right, but kind of was my only option here. And I hit the front cage again. So now that's 3 putts, where if I would have just made them, I'd be like 9 under through 9, or 9 under through 10, or something like that. I was so close to being like, I don't know, maybe a course record. Who knows? At this point, I'm just kind of feeling like, damn, I mean, I could be, you know, really heating up and shooting an amazing round, but it's all good. There, like I keep saying, there's a lot of gettable holes. You can make up all these strokes anywhere. A lot of eagle opportunities. Hole 11's the only par 5 on the course here. It's a downhill, slight turning shot into like an over creek flat landing zone. It's rare you get through the trees at the end. You just want to get anywhere flat to give yourself a second shot to just get across. It's basically the second shot is just a pitch shot. But I'm trying to go big here and get over. So I've got the Heimberg Destroyer again, the 2020. It was that or Lux Enigma, but I haven't really thrown that much. It was kind of just like brand new back in the bag. So I went for the Destroyer, kind of crashed into the last little line of trees there and kicked left right at the edge of this stuff. I was lucky my disc didn't kick farther in because then it's a little jaily in there. I got a bit of an awkward step out, just going with the P3X, give it enough angle to kind of drift to like that shady spot there. And this is fine. I wanted to turn it more just to make the next shot easier, but I mean, I'm in a fairly flat spot. The only thing in my way is this tree on the right, but I'm not going for like a flat hyzery finish on the right side. I'm kind of going right at it. That's why I put down the pig and I go for the D-line P2. And I'm kind of trying to go more at it and then just let it drift and drop straight down, but I kind of hang on to it a little bit. I get a little baby finish to the left at the end there. It does go dead straight, but nothing too difficult about the putt here. Just don't miss the basket and roll way down the hill and give yourself a 7. Bit of a right to left, slight crosswind. Up on the top of the hill here, it's a little bit windier. That's a nice birdie. Putt was a little high, but it's in. Can't complain. Just gonna take a second here to hydrate myself, you know. Remind everybody at home it's important to bring snacks out to the course, especially in the summer when it's hot. You know, have a couple waters with you, maybe a cooler. All right, let's get back to the action. Hole 12 is a question mark distance, apparently. There's one tree in the way, big hyzer to the right, or big forehand to the left. It's just don't hit the only thing in the way, and don't juice it so you go long into the road. Make sure you keep it wide. The ground's skippy out here at this park, so you're gonna get towards the basket. And I make a slight mistake of going a little too wide, but I mean it drifts just about all the way back, and I'm a few feet long, which is great because that hole can be a little testy. I mean, I've tried the forehand. I almost convinced myself it is a forehand hole, but the backhand is just so wide open. There's no reason not to go for it. I just take my 2021 most overstable pig and yoink it out there, and it yoinked back. 13, very nice hole. Kind of I wouldn't call it a tunnel shot, but it's just an open, throw something flat and hard and let it kind of get left late. I've got my 2 destroyers in hand. I drop the 2020 Heimberg and go for the champion destroyer just because it's a bit easier to just throw flat for me. It's a nice comfortable flat release, and then it just reliably gets left. But I think the elevation drop off right there just kind of made it, I don't know, maybe too much air was under it and it glided too long to the right and didn't really get back into the proper landing zone. I actually did throw the other one. I'll show you guys in a second where that ended up, and it definitely was the better disc. Only because this one, or this destroyer, the yellow champion one, I throw flat always, and it just glides forever and then reliably gets left. But this one, the 2020 Heimberg, I throw on hyzer, so it flipped up and then got a great, I don't know if it was a wind push or just the disc doing its thing, but it got way left, and you can see the difference of, I mean, I'm still here for like a 10-foot tap-in birdie, but it's just a much easier upshot being way left like that, which is where I prefer to be. But I got through that tree gap, and, you know, can't really complain here because it's a relatively simple birdie on hole 13. Puts me at 9 under through 13. Hole 14, another par 3. That's the wrong tee sign for sure. That's definitely old. This is correct. That is not 400 feet. Because first off, I can't throw 400 feet. And that's uphill, so no chance. So we go with an instinct, kind of my neutral one. And it just goes pretty straight. Gets a little bit left late, and then, I don't know, what is that, about 12, 13 feet? Maybe less. Looks like if I laid down 2 times, maybe I could touch the basket. So, I don't know, how tall am I? 5'9". So, you know, it's about a... Anyway, so that was hole 14. We're going on to hole 15, which is probably my favorite hole out here. It's downhill, flat or hyzer distance driver over the road, and you just want to get left and don't put yourself even in the possibility of getting right. over the road and don't go straight because there is no route. There's just trees. I'm going with that glidey Champion Destroyer. Gonna hang it out over the road, throw it flat pretty hard, and hope that it just gets left with the way that it's kind of downhill. And I threw it a little too flat. It's turning, but it hits nothing, skips on the road. You can't see it, and gets over the curb. I couldn't believe it. All right, so my shot came out over this road. I think I just missed the speed sign, maybe the telephone pole, skipped off the road over the curb, and then got up to there. This is definitely the farthest drive I've had on this hole. Basket's right there. I just got a pretty easy upshot. Yep, you said it best, past Tony from yesterday. It's kind of, I don't want to say shocking, but it looked like it was flipping and just going to be bad, and it hit nothing and skipped perfectly. This is such a good shot, and this is not a great shot. I'm aiming like probably 10 or 15 feet to the right of where that ended up going. It's fine in the end, but it's not where I was aiming, and that still bugs me, you know? I know I said earlier you can make a lot of mistakes and you'll be okay out here because it plays easy, but it's just not one you'll want to make, you know? Another routine putt on 15 for another pretty easy birdie. We are 11 down through 15 holes, which is really good if I do say so myself. 16 is another one of them short, definitely not 240 feet, probably more in the range of like 180, 190 maybe. Maybe barely pushing 200. I'm considering Champion Rock 3 because it's one of my very straight discs, but I've been throwing this P2 really good lately, so I went for the kind of hyzer flip up and just drift straight forever. And it's looking great, like tracking basket, but I just catch some low branches and it knocks it down. But we're still well inside the circle, probably a 20-something footer for what would be for what would be another birdie. Excuse me, I'm dying. Good little basket catch on the right side. And yeah, that is another birdie. 12 down through 16? Yeah, through 16. Hole 17 is one of those holes that you talk about with your friends that you just hate because the tee pad is bad and uphill. It's a very awkward run up. I'm trying to decide between a Leopard 3 and that Night Strike 3 that I threw on hole 3. I just said the word 3 a lot. Going uphill, I'm thinking flat and at the basket because uphill it won't turn over. I kind of yank it and get really lucky not to kick into the road. That tree just kind of knocks me down into that shady area, and it sticks, thankfully, because that would have been my first out of bounds and most definitely my first bogey. And I'm trying to play clean and get a really good score. And that prevents that a little bit. Just going for the kind of spinny jump putt. These haven't been falling for me lately, but I just need to get something close, and it's uphill. That was actually a pretty smooth, valiant effort. Didn't go in, obviously, but just a bit short. Easy par. Move on to hole 18. Hole 18, very gettable par 4. I'm full on going for the basket on this one. I mean, I'm even thinking hole-in-one on a par 4. But it's either D2 or nuke on this, and I couldn't get myself to go with the D2 because first off, there's a headwind. Second, I haven't thrown it that much, and I just kind of nodded my head. I'm getting just enough of a steady headwind to really rip on this and go for it and trust that this nuke is going to turn perfectly and get to the basket. I pured it. That's the best throw I've ever had, like maybe ever.
Oh God, it's so good.
And oh, I see it. I see it. Right there. Unbelievable. Easily the best drive I've ever had on this hole. Yeah, so I'm maybe a couple feet short of parked, but I mean, that was an absolute mash, and I mean, I was so happy with that. I was pumped. That nuke, those Page Pierce ESP nukes, absolutely bomb. And with that headwind, I was able to throw it on a bit of a hyzer, and just it drifted right perfectly. And there it is, the eagle and relief. So that puts me at 14 under through 18 holes, which is easily my best round anywhere ever, even though it's an easy course.
Wow, okay, what a round. That was, I don't even know what I scored. I wasn't keeping track. A couple of really good shots in there. That was a great round. That was a lot of fun. I love this place. If you're from the area, absolutely check it out. Until then, I guess I'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna get some ice cream this time because it is hot.